10 hours a day. It's 2021. I just got home from my job at Taco Bell, tucked into bed. I'm scrolling on my phone in bed just like this, watching TikTok after TikTok. I was in a complete haze. Dopamine hit to dopamine hit. All of a sudden it's 3 a.m. I haven't been able to fall asleep yet. And I'm still watching TikToks. In fact, even worse, I'm scrolling from TikTok, and once I get bored, I go to Instagram, scroll. Once I get bored, I go to YouTube. Once I get bored, I go back to TikTok. A vicious cycle of dopamine hit after dopamine hit. I feel like I've been looking for a certain kind of TikTok, but truth is I'm not even sure what that would be. I was just mindlessly trying to achieve a dopamine hit that was higher than the last. Eventually I regained my awareness, and even though I don't want to admit it, I began to realize that I was addicted. I'm ashamed. And quite honestly, I was exhausted from all the content I just consumed. Tired. Couldn't think clearly. I ended up checking my screen time in shame and curiosity. I remember seeing the top result. TikTok. 10 hours. 10 hours, it said. 10 hours of my life spent doing nothing productive for me, myself, my family, my future kids and wife. I would go on to repeat the same thing the very next day. 10 hours, or damn close to it. What a depressing, miserable existence that would have been. A shallow version of who I was supposed to be. If you clicked on this video and you're still watching, you probably related to what I just said, and you're probably wasting more of your life than you even realize. But yet the fact that you clicked on this video proves that you don't want to live this life anymore, and you want to live a more meaningful life, and you just can't overcome this cycle of TikTok and Instagram and YouTube, and you really want to understand the negative effects it really has. It's really easy to ignore it and to treat it as just mindless entertainment. You know, I need some entertainment after a long day from work. And then you realize it is actually very detrimental to not just your mental health, but your physical health and your spiritual health. And it's affecting everything about you. And it's just making you depressed. Living this limited edition version of you, like this demo mode of what your life could really be like. If you just had more presence, if you were just more intent, if you had more intent with your life, if you just cared more, if you just spent more time being aware of your surroundings and being present. I have a couple actionable steps for you. The first one is go check your screen time. Now, this is kind of a, this will mess with your mind. If you're spending 3 hours a day on social media, which is a very generous estimation considering many people's is upwards of 8, 9, even 12 hours a day on social media. 3 hours a day is almost 1,100 hours a year. In 9 years, that would be over 10,000 hours. You could have mastered an entire skill in that lifetime. A skill that could have made you financially free, could have retired your parents. It could have made you find your purpose and really be able to attack it and really create a business or create some kind of future for yourself. And instead, you're wasting that time watching TikTok. Really take a good look at your screen time and see what it is. Really don't face the reality that you're probably wasting more time on these apps than you even realize, and really put into perspective and come to the conclusion that you're wasting time on an app that honestly you don't even really enjoy that much. The next actionable step isn't actually in my script, so I wasn't planning to actually put this in the video, but I just thought of it and I think it would be really helpful to you. I'm making a full guide to flow state and presence very soon. I'm working on the script. It's going to be a very long video. It's going to be a full guide. But right now I want you to just sit still as if you're about to meditate. Full attention to nothing else. No distractions. I know you're probably scrolling through like your YouTube feed. Close that out. Close all other tabs. Put this in full screen and really give this your attention. Look around. Set a timer on your phone for, let's say, just 2 minutes. Probably can't last longer than that. No offense. Just look around your surroundings and name as many things as you can that you see. I'll play along with you. So right now I am in a parking lot, so I see a lot of asphalt. I see bushes over there of all different colors. Green, some of them are kind of dead. They're like brownish, orangish, and trees that look really sick actually in the fog right behind those houses. And it looks really cool to me, honestly. There's a bench over there that looks really, really eroded. A lot of moss on the trees. Kind of looks cool in this time of year with like the winter and everything, and like the fog. A lot of just shrubbery everywhere. A lot of shrubs. A shed over there. There's a shed. This is a park, by the way. I'm not sure what a shed is doing over there. Unless it's somebody's backyard and I just don't realize it. There's some flowers over there. I don't even know what those are. They're like yellow. That's kind of cool. Really pay attention to your like sounds that are around you. The sounds. The cars maybe, or the highway if it's early morning, or maybe if it's really foggy, it's probably just sounds like nothing. It's probably like complete silence, which is always nice. If your 2 minutes are up, you can stop and you can come back to the video now. Something really important to note with this is a wandering mind is an unhappy mind. That's a quote by M.A. Killingsworth. We tend to think that poor mental health is caused by some kind of internal factor in our head, in our mind, in our like spirit. But in actuality, it's a lot of it comes from having actually a poor attention span. Think about it this way. Who's happier? A golden retriever who's playing fetch with his owner and just really enjoying the moment, and he's all bubbly and happy and playful and enjoying the bonding moment with his owner, or the guy who's got headphones in his ears. He's stressing about finances. He's stressing about his job, stressing about his girlfriend because his girlfriend kind of doesn't respect him. You know, he might think that she might be cheating on him, and that's kind of plaguing his head. He's been thinking a lot about that. He's thinking about his parents because his parents are kind of unwell and they're sick, and he's kind of worried about them, and he's anxious and depressed, and he's wondering how this friend is doing, and he hasn't talked to him in a while, and he's wondering what he has to do later today, or all these things are just in his head. He doesn't understand the benefits of creating a timetable and having your day planned out. He doesn't understand the benefits of journaling your anxieties. He doesn't know the benefits of meditating and meditation consistently, and how it will put him in this flow state, in this presence early in the day. These are the things that make us happier. Monks had it right all this time, and you probably kind of always wanted to like be like a monk. You've always wondered a lot about monks because you see them how they're so happy and content with life, and you're like, man, I kind of want to be like that, but you don't really know how, and you don't want to do like the elaborate meditation, like the weird stuff they do. But in actuality, the whole reason why these monks are so happy is not because of some weird habit they do or some kind of religious thing they do. It's really actually just because their mind isn't wandering, because they're present and they're constantly present in the moment. These monks don't have social media addictions. They don't have porn addictions. They don't spend their time just distracted. They're constantly present when you have a conversation with them. They're constantly present when they're meditating. They don't get distracting thoughts because they've been doing it for so many years, and they've improved that skill of focus so much to where they just are happier as a result. I really do think even a lot of self-improvement gurus and YouTubers are underestimating the benefit of meditation and journaling and all these habits, because when we do them for the right reason and we really understand the benefits of doing so, we'll be more likely to do them, and we'll understand why we do them. I used to do these habits because, Hamza told me to, and it's beneficial for your mental health, but I didn't understand why. But now we understand why. And I'll get more into it as later in the video, but there is a reason why. The bottom line is, this video is most of all about how TikTok is sending people to hell for eternity. But not just that, TikTok is sending people to hell on earth. Many people experience, and I've said this before, people experience both heaven's attributes and hell's attributes on earth. Because even though we live on God's creation and his earth, we're still living in a fallen world, a world where in the spiritual realm, demons roam around and viciously looking for their next victim like a dog, honestly. There is a spiritual realm, and we are so worried about our enemies in the physical, getting attacked by a bear on a hike. Like, we're worried about these things, but in actuality, these demons are sending us to a place even worse. Even worse than getting mauled by a bear is being in hell for eternity. And yet nobody thinks about this because they don't trust God enough. They don't trust the spiritual realm enough to be true because they can't see it with their eyes. But trust me, when you think about it, when you really ponder it, you realize how much the spiritual realm is real and how much it really does affect the world we see today. And it makes so much sense when you really put two and two together. And it takes a lot of time to think about this and ponder and meditate. It really does. This doesn't come to you, if you've been partying and being degenerate and living this shallow life and being distracted 24/7. You probably haven't spent enough time alone to really think about these things and It'll probably take some time to really get to this spiritual level of thinking when you're bored and just pondering. But depending on the decision we make deep in our soul, we can decide, do we want heaven or hell? And one decision, having a TikTok addiction, getting addicted to TikTok and being on there for 8 to 10 hours a day. As a result, you might be more likely to commit another sin, another evil, another thing that the devil promotes, or addiction to lying, just because it's kind of the same instant gratification. You know, you get out of your consequences for a little while by lying, and it feels kind of nice, but then you feel bad after. We'll have the tendency to lie. We'll have the tendency to build porn addictions. All of a sudden, we are so deep into this without even realizing. And we can be good people. We can seem like good people. I've met a lot of good, friendly people who are really broken in their soul and just deep in hell. They've been fighting for so long and nobody sees it. There's a way out. And it's going to be hard because you burrowed yourself so deep into this addiction, this bondage, this devil. There's probably demons, not to scare you, but there's probably demons latched onto you right now in the spiritual. I don't do coaching calls, but I'm totally willing. Right now, my channel is small enough to where you could probably reach out to me and I'll probably reach back out and we could do a coaching call. We could talk and I could be with you and at least you'll have somebody to talk to and guided along this journey, because it isn't easy when you're that far down. It's so much easier to just sin again. It's so much easier to masturbate and watch porn again. It's the easier thing to do. But a decade of that, imagine how hard it would be to sin. Imagine how hard it would be to watch porn. After 10 years of not watching it, 2 years of not watching it, I don't feel the urge. I don't feel the need. I don't feel like I have to. In fact, when I get the urge, by the way, this is for another separate video, but when I get the urge, I know how to control it through breath work, through meditation, through energy. But spending 10 minutes on TikTok is like losing 1 XP point in the skill of focus and the skill of presence and attention span and being alive. Eventually your attention span gets so bad that no matter what you're doing, you constantly think of other things and getting these unwanted, intrusive thoughts, many of which are just irrelevant, many of which you don't want. What is a solution to this? What is a solution to overcoming a TikTok addiction specifically, but any addiction? The first thing is meditation, redirecting your thoughts to the present. That's all that is. So when you meditate, focus on your breath, focus on what's around you, your sounds and everything. Breathe very deeply to get the breath work effect. Every time you get a distracting thought, don't entertain it, shut it down, and then just simply redirect your mind back to the present. That is like 1 rep for meditation. So if you get distracted while you're meditating, don't worry, you probably will. Honestly, if you have a TikTok addiction, you're probably gonna get distracted in like the next 10 seconds. Just redirect. It'll happen again in probably 10 seconds. Redirect. And you'll get better at it as time goes on. Don't be impatient. Kind of like in a video game when you have like your mana attack that takes a lot of power and energy, and then you have your simple attack, your go-to attack. Meditation is like your go-to attack. Honestly, meditation is the only way I can record these videos, because if it wasn't for meditation, I would be getting distracting thoughts. I'd be thinking about this person or this thing or my work or that or this. But meditation has single-handedly made me able to record these videos. The next thing is journaling. So the thing with journaling is you're going to journal down your anxieties, your concerns, what you're worried about, what's going on in your life, and just anything that's in your head. Any distracting thought, write it down and write as long as you can until you have no thoughts left. And who cares if anybody reads your journal? Once you have nothing left, close the notebook. By journaling like this, you would just naturally think less during the day, because you've already got it on paper. You have no reason to think about it during the day because you've already written it down. You already put it out in the universe. So definitely consider journaling, especially at nighttime before bed. It's a great habit. Now, prayer. Now, if you're not a believer, then just stick with me. There's a lot of benefits to prayer, neurologically, physically. Andrew Huberman made an episode on this, which I actually haven't watched. I'm curious about it. But spiritually, it's such a humbling thing in your soul. And you really get in God's presence, and in turn that gives you more presence. Even though I have a spiritual channel, it's really hard to explain these things because it just helps. I don't know how to explain it. All I'm going to say is I 100% feel better on the days that I wake up and I pray than when I wake up and I don't pray. I'm more in a flow state. I'm more present throughout the day. I'm more happier in conversations. I'm more content with my life, and I get less anxiety because I'm just content with my life and I don't care what people think. Because I mean, not from an ego perspective, but who's waking up at 5 a.m. to pray? Muslims? I mean, they're not praying to a real God anyway, so it's like I'm on my own now. Of course, that's a bit of an ego trip, but seriously, you're praying to God. People need to get this straight. This isn't just some like Zeus, or this isn't some like Baal or some fake idol. This is God that created you. He created your hands. He created your head. He created your eyes, your mouth. your biceps. He's created everything about you. This is the God that created you. So pray to him. Listen. Just get in the presence of God. You don't have to do this 45-minute, stretched out prayer. Pray for a couple minutes and then sit down in your room all quiet, or in your car all quiet. No distracting thoughts. Shut off Instagram, shut off YouTube, shut off TikTok. Disable these apps with a third-party app so you can't access them. And just get in your Bible, read, get in the presence of God. Listen to songs and worship songs that will get you in the presence of God. Think about God. Make this your headspace for at least like 10, 15, 30 minutes. It will change your day. And it's also like a meditative practice in of itself. You're going to improve your focus, attention span. People will respect you more. You'll get along with people more. You'll have better conversations because they'll flow better. That includes that one girl that you are scared to talk to. You can go up to her and talk to her, and you'll be more attractive. You'll be more desirable talking to her just because you're in a flow state, just because you're more present. If you're a new Christian, or if you're not even Christian, you definitely have a long process to go to where you kind of have to just endure doing all these habits, like reading scripture and going to church and doing all these things, which probably aren't very fun, but you just have to endure it and keep going, and you'll see benefits soon enough. Either way, go to heaven, man. I don't want you to go to hell. Come on. You don't want to live a lifetime of, pleasure and porn and fornication and partying just to go to hell forever. Is that really worth it? Like, think of the return on investment. Think of the ROI of this. Just go to heaven, bro. Live this good life and you'll feel better on earth anyway. You'll feel more fulfilled in your soul. You'll feel more happy and content with yourself. You won't have any secrets that you have to hide. So you'll have more energy throughout your day. Just, it's so much better to live this life of God than to go and pleasure yourself with, at the party and drinking alcohol and getting high. It's like, none of this is worth it. Once you experience God, all this stuff just sounds boring and lame to you. I know this is coming off the topic of TikTok, but it all is together. It's all the same thing. TikTok might not be a biblical sin, but it is still ruining your life. Distraction is a tool by the devil. Develop a hobby that keeps you in nature, that keeps you in a flow, that keeps you kind of out of your head, more than you are sitting in your room watching TikTok and listening to degenerate, sad music. Ideally, you'll replace the habit of doom scrolling and watching TikTok after TikTok with these better habits that actually do improve your life. Now, the trick with this though, is overcoming that social media addiction. I have a guide on steps to overcoming your social media addiction. It's one of the first videos I posted, so definitely check that out. I think it's still very helpful. It still holds very true. But essentially, you just want to make yourself more busy. You want to have a timetable. You want to plan out your day. And when you do get bored, because inevitably you will, okay, when I'm bored, instead of scrolling on TikTok, read a book. Have a go-to boredom task that doesn't involve mind wandering, but involves you staying present in the moment. That is a cure to depression. That is a cure to sadness. That is a cure to anxiety, mind wandering, distracting thoughts, intrusive thoughts, and you'll be more happy as a result. It's not just warping your mind and affecting your mind, your mentality, but it's also affecting your spiritual soul. Distraction is an amazing tool by the devil, because if he can just keep you complacent in your life, then the work is already done. Because the objective for the devil isn't just to make you miserable, even though he enjoys doing that. The ultimate goal is to send you to hell along with him. When humanity first started and he was with the fallen angels on Mount Hermon, he was planning best ways that he can get back at God. And the best way to get back at God, send his creation down a downward spiral, ultimately send him to the same place that he's going to. And I could explain this all spiritually, even more in depth, because you're probably like, well, why does God send us to hell? I'm making a video on that. I swear, I'm making a video on that. There is a reason why God sends us to hell, and why God will send you to hell if you're following the ways of the devil. But at the same time, his way of living also makes you experience hell on earth, because his way of living isn't natural. The God that created us has his way of living, and the devil has his way of living that ultimately will send us to hell. But God is the embodiment of good. His way of living, his attributes, his traits will send you to heaven, but it'll also send you to heaven on earth. 1 Peter 5:8, be sober-minded, be watchful, for your adversary the devil prowls around like a lion seeking someone to devour. The devil is looking for ways to take you down with him. He is looking for ways to distract you, make you complacent, make you never ever think about God. And if you're too focused on distraction and scrolling TikTok to TikTok to TikTok, you will never give yourself time to ever think about God, to ever think about these deep things in life. Instead, he will use it against you, and he will cause your attention span to be so bad to where it takes too much time for you to think about him, and it'll actually be boring to you. It'll be boring, and it's very sad, because his way will quite literally make you bored at the idea of God and make you not interested in it. And that's the saddest thing, because then you'll just be more interested in ways that are instant gratification, having sex with random women, going to parties, getting drunk, getting high, telling lies because it's easier than telling the truth. These are things we're more susceptible to when we build an addiction like TikTok. It's all a continual like spiral down. And that's something a lot of people don't realize. And something else I wanted to mention is that content on TikTok isn't even the greatest. It's a lot of worldly content, a lot of content that affirms with everything that's bad in society. Lust, telling lies, degeneracy, just very worldly things that honestly, when you start living the spiritual set apart life, you just think it's weird. I know it sounds like a stretch to say that TikTok sends people to hell, but let me tell you, being addicted to an app and spending 10 hours a day on said app, that's hell on earth. I don't want to live that way. I don't want to fall into that trap again. It's hell on earth for your mind and your soul. And if you live your life just never thinking, never taking time alone or time to journal your thoughts, or your soul will suffer. Your soul will suffer. Your peace of mind will suffer. You're living such a mediocre existence right now, but it doesn't have to be that way. Your life can be so much more spiritual, so much more meaningful, so much more peaceful. It really is possible. I'm proof of that. And I'm not even the best example. There's people who are way more advanced in this journey than me. And yet I'm still experiencing the positive effects of that, of choosing the way of God. So protect your attention span. Add in habits in your day that not just improve your attention span, but also forces you into getting into a flow state. And do not get discouraged. It won't be easy, and you'll get a lot of distracting thoughts while you're trying to do the right thing, but simply redirect your mind, endure, keep going, do the habits. Soon enough, you'll see some improvement. I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.